JSE is contending with mixed global markets, with sentiment actually dented by some poor economic data coming out of China, which is still battling COVID-19 outbreaks in major cities. The local bourse rose by more than 2% on Friday after U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell once again played down the chances of 75 basis point interest rate hikes. Let's make sense of all of it for you now. Bring in Zwelakhe Mnguni, who's Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers. He joins us via our video link this morning. Great to chat to you as always, sir. Thanks for making time. Let's start, as we usually do, with a sense of how the markets are faring this morning.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, the markets are mixed, particularly I think we saw on Friday there was a bit of a pickup in sentiment in the U.S. And you see this morning that the Asian markets are under pressure. And as you quite correctly pointed out, there is a concern around the effect of the lockdowns in China, what impact it would have on the GDP growth target of 5.5. So it looks like they might miss that target, and that has some implications for global economy, particularly the exporting countries like ourselves, where we export commodities into those markets. Certainly, there's going to be a bit of pressure if China's demand falls.
Yeah, in fact, from one Asian country to another, India has opted to ban export wheat. Let's talk about, this development and what it could mean for global wheat prices. We know South Africa certainly would be affected by that.
Yeah, I think what has happened is there was quite a big heat wave in India, and the government has kind of taken a precautionary measure to say they have to ban the export of wheat, more to ensure that if the yields come out later not as good as expected, they can have food security for themselves. But they did say that where there is food security issues in other countries, they will allow those exports to happen. And secondly, where there are already letters of credit that have been granted, they would provide it. But I think the big impact is going to be on countries that import wheat, because the Black Sea region between Ukraine and Russia was also a major exporter of wheat. With the war, I think that production is curtailed, and I think it's likely to create significant price increases of wheat and by extension of bread that is being used in many places around the world.
Yeah, in fact, in Zimbabwe, we've already heard some people who own bakeries saying that they've completely run out of stock and are looking to South Africa for help. But we've also seen the Vodacom Group publish their results for the year ended on the 31st of March in 2020. We know Vodacom certainly not a negligible player in telecommunications. How have they fared?
Yeah, they came out with numbers that were relatively decent. I think their revenue was up 5%. And I think one area where they continue to see growth is the area of financial services. They declared a dividend of about 8.50, which is up 3%. Not anything to write about, but certainly the company continues to deliver on its mandate.
Yeah, Asheville Foods also posting their interim results for 6 months, in fact, ended on the 31st of March this year. Talk us through those numbers, perhaps.
Yeah, our numbers were very good. I think they seem to have benefited from the lower cost of feed and the recovery in production. I mean, their operating earnings was up 134%. The earnings per share was up almost 150%. So they declared a dividend of 7.90, and that is up 138%. So quite a good set of numbers from Astral as well.
Yeah, it's good to hear. Thanks for getting us to speed with what we need to know on this Monday morning. Appreciate your time. As always, Zwelakhe Mnguni is the Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers.